There is a small system inside your body working quietly every single day. Most people never think about it. You cannot see it in the mirror. You cannot feel it while it is doing its job. And yet, it may have more influence over your energy after meals than almost anything else. Many adults over 50 blame afternoon tiredness on age. They say things like, "I'm just getting older. I don't have the energy I used to have. I always need something sweet around 3 o'clock." But what if your body is simply asking for help in a way nobody ever explained? Today, I want to share something that surprised many researchers. A simple movement that takes only a few minutes may help your muscles use sugar more efficiently after eating. No complicated workout, no expensive equipment, no difficult exercise program, just a small daily habit. And before we get there, we need to understand why so many people feel exhausted after lunch, because it is not simply about getting older. It begins with glucose. Glucose is one of your body's main sources of energy. Your muscles use it. Your brain depends on it. Your cells need it. Without it, the body cannot function properly. The problem is not sugar itself. The problem is what happens when large amounts enter the bloodstream very quickly. After eating foods rich in carbohydrates, your digestive system breaks them down into glucose. The glucose enters your blood. Your body responds by releasing insulin. Insulin acts like a messenger. It helps move glucose from the bloodstream into the body's cells. When everything works smoothly, you feel energized. But when large amounts arrive all at once, the body sometimes struggles to keep up. Some people notice sleepiness after meals. Others experience brain fog. Some begin craving sweets only an hour after eating. Many assume this means they lack discipline, but that is often not the case. Your body is simply responding to changing energy levels. I remember speaking with a woman in her early 50s who worked in an office. Every afternoon she felt exhausted. Around 3 o'clock she would walk to the vending machine. Chocolate, cookies, something sweet. She blamed herself for years, but once she understood how her body was working, everything changed. The answer was not more willpower, it was understanding. And that understanding begins with your muscles. Many people think muscles are only important for strength, but muscles are also one of the body's largest energy users. When muscles move, they use glucose. When muscles remain inactive for long periods, they require much less energy. This means that after a meal, movement can play an important role, even gentle movement, even simple movement. And there is one particular muscle that researchers have become very interested in. Most people have never heard its name. It sits deep inside the lower leg. You cannot see it. You rarely notice it. But it may be one of the most hard-working muscles in your body. We'll talk about that muscle in just a moment. Because first, there is something important to understand. Many people believe exercise only matters if it is difficult. They believe it must involve heavy weights, long runs, or exhausting workouts. But the body often responds to consistency more than intensity. Small actions repeated every day may create meaningful changes over time, and this is especially important after the age of 50. As we grow older, muscle mass naturally changes. Staying active becomes increasingly important, not because we need to become athletes, but because our muscles continue helping us manage energy every single day. And now let's talk about the hidden muscle that researchers began studying very closely. It is located deep in the calf, and what they discovered surprised many experts. The muscle researchers became interested in is called the soleus. Most people have never heard that name. It sits underneath the larger calf muscle and works quietly every time you stand, walk, or shift your weight. What makes this muscle so interesting is that it can remain active for long periods without becoming tired. Researchers discovered that gentle movements involving this muscle may help the body use glucose more efficiently after meals. And the movement itself is surprisingly simple. You can sit in a chair, keep your toes on the floor, slowly lift your heels, then lower them back down, up, down, at your own pace. Many people can do this while watching television, reading, working at a desk, or talking on the phone. The goal is not speed. The goal is movement. The body responds to movement. And this leads to one of the most important ideas in today's video. Your muscles can become active partners in helping your body manage energy. The woman I mentioned earlier decided to try something very simple. After lunch, she stopped sitting completely still. Sometimes she walked for 10 minutes. Sometimes she performed heel raises while answering emails. Sometimes she simply stood and moved around the kitchen after dinner. Within several days, she noticed something interesting. Her afternoon fatigue became less intense. She felt more alert. The strong cravings she usually experienced every day began to weaken. Nothing dramatic, nothing overnight, just small improvements. And those improvements continued. Now, I want to talk about another important point. Many people think that exercise only counts if they sweat, but research increasingly shows that even light movement can be beneficial. A short walk after a meal, standing while talking on the phone, doing dishes, tidying the kitchen, watering plants, walking around the house. All of these activities involve muscles, and muscles use energy. One of the easiest habits to build is a short walk after eating. It does not need to be fast. It does not need to be long. Even 10 minutes can make a difference. Some people prefer walking outside. Others walk inside their homes. The location matters far less than the movement itself. Another useful activity involves the large muscles in the legs, simple chair squats, standing up and sitting down several times, holding onto a countertop if needed. These movements engage some of the body's largest muscles. Large muscles require energy, and that energy comes from glucose. But perhaps the most encouraging part of all this is that these habits fit into normal life. You do not need expensive equipment. You do not need a gym membership. You do not need special clothing. You do not need to completely change your schedule. Many people already have the time. What they often need is the information. As we get older, maintaining muscle becomes increasingly important. After the age of 40, muscle mass naturally begins to change. By our 50s and 60s, this process becomes more noticeable. Less muscle means the body has fewer places to use energy. That is one reason movement becomes even more valuable with age. This does not mean intense exercise. It means regular movement. Consistency matters much more than perfection. I spoke with a man in his early 60s who believed he needed to join a gym. He delayed taking action for almost a year because he thought exercise had to be complicated. Eventually, he began taking 10-minute walks after dinner. That was it. Several weeks later, he noticed he felt lighter after meals. His energy improved, he slept better, and perhaps most importantly, he felt encouraged. Small successes often lead to bigger changes. So what can you do starting today? First, pay attention to how you feel 1 or 2 hours after eating. Do you feel energetic? Do you feel sleepy? Do you crave sweets? Second, try some movement after your next meal. Walk, stand, do gentle heel raises, move around the kitchen, find something that feels comfortable. Third, discuss your blood sugar numbers with your healthcare provider during your next appointment if you have concerns. Simple conversations and routine checkups can provide valuable information. And finally, remember this: your body is always adapting. Your muscles are always listening. Every small movement sends a message. Every walk, every step, every time you choose movement over sitting, you are giving your body an opportunity to work the way it was designed to work. You do not need to become an athlete. You do not need perfect habits. You simply need to begin. Because some of the most powerful changes do not happen inside a gym. They happen during ordinary moments. A walk after dinner, a few minutes of movement, a decision to stand instead of sit. And over time, those small choices may become some of the most valuable investments you make in your future health and energy. If today's information was helpful, consider sharing it with someone who often feels tired after meals. Sometimes one simple idea can change the way a person understands their body, and that understanding can become the beginning of lasting change.